Hey, hey guys, welcome to the show. Once again, live on Wednesdays. You can ask anything you want, and I'll try to do my best to answer. Hi, Hal. Hi, Science of Photography and Leighton. This week, I wanted to ask you a few things, guys. Yesterday in the news, I basically just made it to announce the Rolleiflex Mint partnership, and wanted to know what you guys thought about that. If you think it'll be an improvement, or you think it's just going to be a branding move, just labeling it as Rolleiflex, and that would be it. I hope to see some improvements. Some people are really not liking the idea that Rolleiflex is being used for a product like it. I think Rolleiflex at this moment is basically on sale to the best bidder and looking for anywhere to put their name on. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I know the Rolleiflex, not Rolleiflex, but Rolleiflex is all over the place. Action cameras, tripods, and all these cheap products, just kind of like Polaroid was before Impossible bought them out. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm really curious to see how the Kickstarter goes. I'm curious to see if there's any improvements and see if there might be more products than just an instant camera. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. I'm curious about that. Also, there's been, I didn't make it on the news because I got the information a little later on this thing called Camera Lex or Lex Camera. By the looks of it, it looks like such a weird concept. There's no shutter speed options, at least that I can see. There's no motor to advance the film or winder to advance, at least that I can see either. It almost feels like an April Fool's. I know there's pictures and stuff from their project. Just, it's kind of weird, honestly. I don't know. Uses like a shutter from an A7, but I don't know. There's no rangefinder, no viewfinder. It's all very weird. We'll see. The Science of Photography says it's not just a rebrand. Leighton says Rolleiflex is just a trademark basically now, so someone has paid to slap it on something, trying to get some credibility. And Jacob, hi Jacob, and hi and the 9. I agree with Leighton, just a brand. Good evening, Stuart. House says, I hope Mint will get the lens upgraded and improve build quality, but in the real world, maybe it's just a branding movement. Science of Photography spoke with Gary. The viewfinder has been improved, brightened, and other minor adjustments that fix some of the issues in the TLR 70. Hi, Mark. I'm not saying there's not an improvement. I read an article, I can't remember what magazine or online blog, I read an article that there was going to be some improvements from Rolleiflex, but from what I have, and let me show you something. Let me see if I can find the link. From what I have, Rolleiflex, there's nothing left of Rolleiflex. I mean, the name, yes, but I don't think there's anything left there as in knowledge, know-how, blueprints, anything like that. I mean, by the pictures of it, either someone bought it just for the sake of it, or I think there's nothing left. There's this website called dw/photo.eu, which is the Frank and Hindeck, which is basically Rolleiflex, that is still selling these cameras as of today, the HY6. And these people look like they really do make cameras, or at least they have the parts for the real deal cameras. They're not the double lens or twin lens reflex cameras, but they have parts, and they have the HY6 module where you can buy it as 5,600 euros. Uses film. I have a friend that uses it, and they have lenses that have autofocus, which is pretty impressive for a 6x6 camera. They have a 50 and 80, a 90. They have a 120, a 60 to 140, a 150, and a 180. But this is, to me, what looks like is left of Rolleiflex. but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Kicker, thanks for the video on getting into large format on the cheap with a Rolleiflex. Would Intrepid be the way to go if I wanted more capability and still affordability? Let me just one sec. The science of photography, true, we're not going for the Rolly build quality. I mean, I'm not saying that there's no partnership in some way, but I just would love to know if it really is a partnership or Mint is just kind of praising like, yeah, Rolly helped us, but really Mint did all the work, which is not something to go light with. I mean, they've done a great job at doing what they're doing, and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I wonder if it's really to be given credit to Rolleiflex, or it's Mint that's doing all the work, and then it's like, yeah, but Rolly helped just to make it look like, because Rolleiflex has that name. But we'll see, we'll see. Okay, Kicker. To answer your question, I've had a very concise opinion on Intrepid cameras. I'm a huge supporter of what they're doing. I have a good relationship with Max and the team. I've used their cameras only during the Kickstarter video recording. I have been trying to get a 4x5, but it's going to take a little time because they're backlogged and stuff. But my opinion on the Intrepid cameras, which would come with a review later on, is that it's a great camera if you know what you're doing. And by that, what I mean is when you're starting in large format and you're new to everything, it's a pretty big hit in knowledge. Like, nothing is for granted, you know? Everything has to be put on zero by yourself. You have to know exactly what movements will affect what. You have to know how to focus properly. You have to know how to focus for different parts of the of your image. You have to know how to meter, usually using a spot meter. You have to know how to develop that film. You have to know how to load the film. You have to know about using these lenses that have no real automatic stuff. I can't say the word. Except for the shutter that just basically will go whatever speed you say. Everything else has to be done by the user. When you're new to this, a camera that has certain limitations, like the Rolleiflex, like the press cameras, kind of like the Toyo ones, the Horseman ones, the folder ones, kind of like the Vista, that can have less movements apparently, because some of them have a lot of them. Those are good things, because when you're starting, there's a lot of mistakes you can do. And actually, when I start my workshops, which I do large format workshops, I don't intend to be the best teacher ever. I just try to pass the knowledge I know or I have to new people. I always say the first blocks you shoot, do no movements. Just load it, shoot it, no movements, no silly stuff, because you're going to make mistakes and you want to know what those mistakes are. The more variables you throw into your photography in large format, when you're starting, the more complications you're going to have that you're not going to understand. You're going to go online, find out, and you're going to get burned out, get out of the format, move to medium format or digital, whatever you shoot. And that's not what I want for people. I want people to enjoy large format, to get the best out of the camera and the photography, and use it as a great tool. Intrepid is a great tool, and everyone that praises Intrepid usually has had a previous camera that has given them that learning curve. Either it's been a Shinhao, it's been a Rolleiflex, it's been a Chamonix that maybe they sold because it was too nice and pricey and they decided to sell it to buy 3 Intrepids. And that's what I think. Intrepid is a great tool, but you really have to know what you're doing. So read a lot, buy a book, go to a workshop before you get an Intrepid. Don't go straight into an Intrepid without knowing, because the lack of, being sure what you're doing in a camera with so many possibilities and not a lot of assistance. For example, Intrepid cameras might not have the notch to know what the height is to have the camera at 0 point. Actually, they do have it. Or maybe you're doing some kind of mistake. And I mean, made out of plywood and all this, it's just not maybe perfectly straight sometimes, or there's no bubble levels to assist. I mean, there's little things that don't help newbies. It's fine when you know what you're doing, but when you're new, it's not so easy. So it's a great tool, it is, but I recommend one takes that extra cheapness on the camera, because it is cheaper, not bad in that sense, to learn and add what's left into learning. More film you're gonna burn, more workshops you're gonna take, more books you're gonna buy. So kind of like that, the learning curve will be a little steeper because the camera is a bit less rigid in the sense of like tough like a Graflex, or because with Graflex you just clack it, like you click it open and it's just kind of ready. So that's what I mean. And sorry that I talk so much and probably have a bunch of answers. I'm at work, Hog Earth, and you pulled up on the 50-inch flat screen. Hey guys, oops, let me see. Jacob says the problem is that there is no one newcomer that is really solid technology as in the former times, only kind of copies. This is going back to the Rolleiflex. I hope they have an Instax back for old Rollies. That would be nice. House says the Intrepid Mark III is coming. Should I buy it for a backup 4x5 enlarger? I got the funds, but I don't know if I should buy another 4x5 or just use my Horseman as a main camera enlarger. I mean, I wouldn't buy it straight away, the V3 as a enlarger. I would try to use it. I mean, the enlarger from Intrepid is going to come as a Graflock attachment, so you will be able to use it on a Horseman. The Horseman will give you more precise movements towards aligning it, which is a huge issue in enlarging and taking pictures, basically the same thing, because depth of field is so small. So I wouldn't buy it straight away. I would say when the enlarger comes out, buy it, try it on your Horseman. If you like it, keep it like that. If you don't like it and you think you need a lighter camera because you want to point it down and the Horseman's kind of a big bulk to do, maybe you should invest on something lighter. But I wouldn't go straight away just buying the Mark III. Science of Photography, he's going to send me an email, I guess, about the Rolleiflex. I appreciate that. Stuart, how are we celebrating 429 for Pinhole Photography Day? Video potential. I actually heard about the Pinhole, and I only have one Pinhole camera that I've used once. And actually I'm approaching it in a not very Pinhole way and just have it there, and I haven't used it. So no, I'm not a big Pinhole guy. I tried once, I should try it again. But the lack of preview kind of gave me a bit of a down feeling when I got the negatives developed, and I was like, didn't look like I thought. So I've seen amazing work on Pinhole. Actually, at Photokina, Berger had a Pinhole image enlarged from an 8x10, and it was stunning. So I have to say, I want to try it, even though now that Acros is out of the game, makes it a little harder to shoot Pinhole. Let me see. Science of Photography, also curious about your plans for Sunday. Oh, Pinhole Day says Sunday. Okay, maybe I will do something for Sunday. I'm actually going to be alone for 5 days, and my idea was to catch up on the Kickstarter rewards. But maybe on Sunday I'll take some time to do some Pinhole photography. I have 2 cameras I can use. One's mine, one's alone. Maybe I'll do a little test of shooting both. Stuart says, the Science of Photography took my images Sunday with an RSS 617 of bluebells on the move. Hope to have them complete by the 29th. You're supposed to take the picture on the day, says the Science. Okay, I'll take the picture on the day. And I'll develop and scan and print on the same day. So maybe I'll do a go shoot, develop, scan and print. Scan just to share online, print from the negative on the same day, on Pinhole Day, and make a video. That would be a pretty long day, but I can do that. I think I could do it. All Kicker, cool, thanks. That was helpful. Glad to help. Stuart, I can't take images on the 29th and post on the 29th, so I modified my approach. Yeah, I mean, it's all about sharing Pinhole. Science says I have a video of Pinhole composition if anyone is interested. I probably will be interested because I'm pretty bad at Pinhole. I'm opening your channel, Science, just to remember to watch it, because if not, I will forget. Let me see. Science of Photography. There we go. But yeah, Pinhole photography. I got trigger happy. with the Pinhole. It was like so simple. I was like, oh, it just, I got a Pinhole camera that I point it to something, and I had ideas and examples in my head. So I went out and I shot probably 15 Portra 400 or Portra 160 on a sunny day, and developed all the color film. And yeah, my results were not the best. Oh, whatever. Nikita Nat, good evening. Good evening. Layton, I have an f4 lens. That's a Pinhole, right? Yeah, that's my problem. I mean, because I have a proper Pinhole camera, I have no lens that could shoot. I have actually Agfa Clack that a lot of people convert to Pinhole, and I thought about it, but we'll see. Maybe one day. Let's see. Let me see. Let me see. Pinhole. Oh, the science of photography. You have a whole bunch of Pinhole. I must have gone through them without thinking because I'm not a Pinhole guy. So I'm going back into it. Pinhole camera. Composition. That's what I need. There we go. But yeah, I'm pretty amazed at the people that can shoot Pinhole and get good results. That's for sure. But yeah, that was something I wanted to talk about, the whole Rolleiflex camera. Sorry, I'm opening something Hogarth has here. Image of me in a 50-inch plasma talking. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. And yeah, that Lex camera, open source, is something, we'll see where it goes. But to me, it feels not the best yet. It needs a lot of polishing. Hey, tell everyone to watch your Spanish channel like I did. Yeah, I opened a Spanish channel. For those that didn't know, I live in Spain, born in Spain, Spanish. That's why my English, sometimes I make big mistakes and pronounce things wrong. And I opened a Spanish channel. So far, I've only done a few videos, but I want to keep on doing and growing there. I live in Spain, so interviews, photo stories, catching up on friends that shoot film and stuff like that would be much easier in a Spanish channel. Dubbing or subtitling videos is, for at least for what I've seen, really hard and complicated. So I'll see if I could would be able to put it out and make more content there. Doesn't mean I'll stop with this. I actually was thinking and shared my plan with a few friends, and I'm going to try to keep the channel a bit more centered on a topic for a while, and that way I can concentrate on making content easier and plan ahead and have more of a narrative on it. And it's going to be large format. Not that I don't think there's information out there, but I think there's a lot of lifestyle large format channels like Ben Horns, Nick Carver, Ellen Brock, and other people who are doing a great job, but I feel that sometimes more technical things are left out because maybe there's forums and online searches, or they might be more boring. But I'm kind of like a boring kind of guy in that sense, and I like seeing that kind of videos. So I'm going to take an approach there, and from there I will move to a different subject for a while and make more content. So that way it'll be a bit more block specific. I'll keep the news, I'll keep the live stream, I'll keep the daily grain show, which I'm working on. I'll keep certain things, but I will try to go more on large format and more in depth. So I have like 20 books I've gone in the last few months about it, and I will keep on going. Stuart says that that video was a long one. Yeah, my Spanish first video was pretty long, because I did 2 weeks of the news, but now I'm going to do it weekly. I actually just edited and uploaded the Spanish news right now. Actually should be up at this very moment while we're talking. Lathan says, subtitles would be useful for interviews. Dubs are bloody terrible. Please don't do that. No, it would be subtitles. It's just I'm not the best at typing, so I don't. It takes forever to type like a minute of dialogue. Hao says, I have an idea about making a trailer for your workshop or something like that, and for your Spanish channel. Hey, Hao, share it with me. If you want in private, share it happily. I'm open to ideas all the time. I've been wanting to shoot a proper trailer for this channel for a while and have a pretty good idea. I just wish I had someone that could help me. Like, I need a cameraman. I've even considered hiring a cameraman for certain videos because I want to move around and the static camera just doesn't work for certain shots. So I'm there trying to get someone like that. August says I'm going to get pizza. Does anyone want it? So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm happy to get any suggestions possible for the Spanish. The Spanish channel, I'm telling you right now, has no kind of polishing. It's pretty raw for now, but we'll see. We'll go there. We'll get there. Also on this weekend, I'm planning on shooting some of those portraits. For those who follow me on Instagram, I shot some portraits on 8x10 and I'm going to continue. I have a kind of a crazy project where I want to shoot, I guess I can say, I want to shoot 100 portraits on 8x10 in 24 hours. And this is going to be at the festival. There's a photography festival here in Spain, in Barcelona, at the end of May. And I wanted to do something fun for the festival. And I thought that shooting portraits for an upcoming portfolio I want to do. And oh, Instagram name. My Instagram name, I think, is Nicolas Yacera. Let me put the app just in case. I think that's my Instagram name. So I'm trying to work towards a project in 8x10, and it has a very specific look to it. And it's very much like the Avedon style, but it's completely different subjects. They're local to me, but they're also scary to me because they're very rough kind of people. So I want to have as many pictures and results that I can share with them before I do this. So I started doing portraits here. I have been doing portraits to my family, friends, and I want to do strangers the next step. So in this analog festival in Barcelona, I'm going to shoot 100 portraits in 24 hours on 8x10. And that will become, hopefully, a website, maybe a book about it, because I think it would be pretty cool. And that will give me a letter of presentation when I go for my real project, which will be shooting these people that are local to me. So yeah, that's something that's coming. Hopefully I'll get the film on time and I won't screw up. But it's going to be a pretty big mission to shoot that much in basically a day. I'm going to have hopefully a friend to take notes of the names and the permits and the, everything. Phil, and then hi Nico, have you ever reviewed those adapters to put the 35 film in a Hasselblad 500 magazine? Filena, first, I got your email, so thank you for that. Filena did the enlarger with the Intrepid camera, not the Intrepid enlarger, but his own version. I'll share that in the news if that's okay with you, Filena. I actually could share it with you guys now that you're here, and then share it in the news later next week, because I think it's pretty cool. Let me see. Let me see. The internet's going especially slow while I do live streams. So let me close that. Well, it's going slow. But I haven't used the adapters to shoot 35 film on a Hasselblad. I do have the adapters that they sold for the X-Pan hack for the Pentax 6x7. And I think I never shot it. So I've never really used 35 on a medium format camera just because it just hasn't happened. I'd rather just shoot normal medium format. Okay, here it is. Let me copy and paste Filippo's blog. So you can see the Intrepid camera with do-it-yourself enlarger source. So it's basically the same thing Intrepid's trying to make, but homemade. But yeah, I never shot that on medium format. I've either shot 35, I've either shot medium format, or I've shot X-Pan. Andrea, hi. Sorry, I didn't say hello when you said it. Which second film camera should I buy? A Yashica X3 Super 2000. You have a Yashica F3 FX. Andrea, I would suggest if you already have a 35 millimeter camera, don't go for another 35. I would go for medium format. That's probably the most different camera you can get compared to 35. I would go for example, Yashica Matte, Yashica 124, Yashica D, Yashica A, all those Yashicas, except for the Yashica Matte 124G, which is a bit more expensive, but not that bad, are really fun cameras. The TLR is such a different experience to shooting 35. The 6x6 is a different form factor, like it's a square, which is really fun. Depth of field is so different. But yeah, they're inexpensive in the fact that you can get them like for $100 or 100 euros. So you're not going to break any bank. If you can develop 35, you can develop 120. If you can buy 35, you can usually buy 120. And it's a different format, and it'll get you started with medium format, which is really fun. You will have to meter light or use Sunny 16, which works pretty good if you're in a sunny place. If not, you live like me in cloudy f2.8. Which is how it is here all the time. But yeah, I would suggest that. Go for a TLR 6x6 and enjoy it. And just get something cheap. The Lubitel, I'm not a big fan of the Lubitel. Results are iffy. Prices have like tripled. For the price of a Lubitel, you can get a Yashica Matte, Yashica, D or Yashica B or A. There's a few different models that I'm not sure of, but they're cheap. I mean, you can go to open eBay on like computer will break. Andrea, where are you located? With your name, it looks kind of Italian, but I can't tell. Yashica B. No, Yashica. I'm terrible. Matte. Yashica Matte. Just the Yashica Matte. Here you have one Yashica Matte in England for 114 euros. You have one in England for 150 euros. You have another one in Italy, Yashica Matte 124G for 180 euros and 35,000 euros shipping. That's a good shipping. Must be insured. Yashica Matte LM for 137. There's a bunch of Yashicas. That's what I would do. Well, Andrea, there you have the Yashica for 35,000 euros shipping. But I would get a Yashica. Auntie, I tried the new 55 developer and it looks really good. I won't know until I scan them. Can you recommend a good photo scanner? Thank you. Photo scanners, I mean, if you're going to do 35, I recommend a dedicated 35 scanner. If you're going to be doing medium format or large format, I recommend an Epson V500, even though you got a stitch 4x5. 600, pretty much the same. 700 will let you scan up to 8x10. And 750, 800, 850, they're all pretty much the same. Those four last ones are the same scanner, just a little slight upgrades, which are not worth the price. If you're going to be just scanning 35, try to get a 35 scanner. There's a few good ones that are Minolta, old school, maybe have weird connections that you can't use. But 35 millimeters on flatbeds is horrendous, so try to avoid it. Layton says, buy a TLR based on quality. If it's an excellent quality, it's being looked after. Otherwise, you're looking at a CLA and problems. TLRs tend to be beaten up. Yeah, that's true. I mean, do get a TLR, but it looks good. But I have a Yashica Matte that works fine, and it looks pretty beat up. The Yashica Matte 124G is just a bit more praised, and usually they're a bit better condition, but they're pretty good. They're like around 200 euros, not too bad, considering Rolleiflexes. Thanks for the tips, Andrea says. Layton says, I have a Canon 9000F Mark II. Scans of 35 are okay for social media only. Yeah, I've been scanning my medium format and large format on the Epson V700 just straight on top of the glass. And honestly, to share online, it's worked fine. I don't do the digital camera like Finlana says, the digital camera light table, even though I do want to use it for 11 by 14 because I don't have a scanner for that, even though I could scan and stitch. But we'll see. Finlana says, I use a cheap light box and a digital camera on a tripod for scanning. Results are pretty good and one less piece of electronics in the house. Yeah, I have the two scanners that I have are V700s, and they're actually both not mine, even though they're permanent loan. And I also have a Nikon 5000, which is also not mine. I actually scanned some Ferrania film the other day, but I feel like I need to learn how the scanner works properly before I can share anything. Which, talking about sharing, Flickr, as you guys know, has been bought by, I forgot to say this in the news yesterday. I left it in the description, but I forgot to say Flickr has been bought by SmugMug or something like it. And now it's supposedly you're going to have to pay for every account. I hope they keep the free account. That's what I have. I used to pay for Flickr when I used the hell out of it, but nowadays I just kind of like dump my pictures there and share them on forums, social medias, because it's an easy way to download on my phone and share it. Easier than scrolling through the zillion pictures of my kids on my phone to find that scan or whatever. Plus, it's easier to upload from the computer to Flickr and then download on my phone with the app. But I don't know what's going to happen. Let me see about, yeah, here, Flickr is joining SmugMug. Learn more. Has anyone read the proper conditions of Flickr now? Because this is certainly a change. I really always enjoyed Flickr quite a bit for image sharing, much better than what do you call it, Instagram or any other platform. But yeah, any idea on that? Andrea says, have you ever tried to develop color film in black and white chemicals? Have I developed? Nope, never done color film in black and white chemicals. Actually, there's a story with that. I told Hogarth here the other day, and I was saying, I bought an 11 by 14 camera a long time ago, and it came with 7 film holders, which is, if you ever hear about ultra large format, the hardest part is getting film holders for it. So I got the camera, I got the film holders, and I never looked in the box for a while because I didn't have any film. And one day I went to load it, I bought some X-ray film, and I moved the film holder and it made noise. I was like, oh wait, there's film in there. So I went in the dark, I opened the film holder and I touched the notches and there was no notch. I was like, okay, this is X-ray. So I shot one shot, I developed it and it worked, and I was amazed. So I kept on shooting those film holders that were loaded and developing them till the other day, like 6 months ago or more. I developed 2 sheets from a festival somewhere in Spain, and it happened to come out super contrasty. I was like, what is this? Because, you know, X-ray film has like a blue cast to it, some of them. And there's emotion on both sides. This was just like extremely transparent, no emotion on one side, emotion on the other side, and the notch was different. And it happened to be slide film. So I had 11 by 14 slide film loaded that I didn't know existed, at least not on my holders, and you can't buy again. And I screwed it up. So yeah, I've done it once, not on purpose. Answering Andrea. Whoops, let me see. Layton says Flickr is dead. I just hope it's not, at least even for sharing and uploading my pictures there. Even if they charge a small fee, I'll pay. I already pay for Spotify, I pay for Lightroom, I pay for Netflix, I pay. I mean, there's so many subscription bases nowadays. It's like the future of everything's paying small fees for everything. Layton says, I have very dark contrasty. You can scan, but it's not good to print in the darkroom. Yeah, I haven't tried it really on purpose. The only gogging, any advice on using Caffeinol coffee-based developer? I've never used it, but as far as I've seen, it works really well. So can't give you much experience or advice on it. I would say read around and check what you see and what you like. Talk to people that have actually used it. Hogarth, Flickr is still the best way to organize and share your photos. And Nick agrees. I agree too. But we'll see what happens with that. I'll read the conditions when I have the time. Just don't feel like reading conditions usually. But we'll see what it says. We'll have to read it. Let me go back to you guys. Okay. Andrea says, I'm shooting with Kodak Color Plus 200, but I want to develop in black and white, but I'm looking to buy Fomapan 217 meters film. I suggest you just keep on going with just buying color for color and black and white for black and white. Andrea, if you want to buy film, Fomapan 200 is not bad, but I would suggest Fomapan 100 is a little bit better. And check to see what the price is for the 30 meter can, because usually 17 is a little bit more expensive if you divide it by the roll. I buy the 30 meter HP5, which I loaded the other day. It's over here. And I make my own little rolls, which are here. HP5. Oh, this is the 120 box. The 35 is on the other place. Let me see. How? I have been curious about X-ray film. Do they have 4x5 size, and can you tell me how to develop it? Okay, so my experience on X-ray film is only for 11x14. They don't sell 4x5 size. The smallest I've heard or I've read they sell is 8x10. So you would have to cut it, but you can cut it with red light because X-ray film is orthochromatic, so it's not sensitive to red. Then developing it, there's a motion of both sides. So what I do is I cut a little notch to know which side is the one I'm going to expose the right side up. I expose it, usually rated at ISO 100. It's worked for me. Then I develop it in a normal 4x5 tank, and I usually bleach the other side. So I bleach it when it's dry. Some people do it when it's wet. So you just put a little bit of bleach with a cotton, you know, one of these makeup things. I clean it and then I scan it. The thing is, X-ray film is extremely soft when wet, and it will scratch so easily. But treated properly, it can do amazing things. And it's so cheap that you don't mind throwing sheets away, scratching things away, if you don't mind practicing and getting perfect results with it. But it's very soft and it takes a while to learn. Layton says, Caffeinol takes a lot of practice for good results. To be honest, just use Rodinol or HC110. Perfect every time. Yeah, I'm an HC110 guy, and I can say so easy, so good. The only gogging, thanks, was just thinking of experimenting. That's the thing I enjoy about film photography is the way the one can experiment to basically go crazy. You can try everything. So if you're one of those people that loves experimenting, I say go for it. And check. I have heard the cheaper the coffee, the better. So you never know. Or maybe you want to practice with expensive coffee. Let me see, Nick, how you can cut down an 8x10 sheet of X-ray under a safe light and get 4x5s, just like I just said. Thanks, Nick. How says, okay, so where do I get X-ray film? X-ray film can be shown under the safe light. Yes. There's a few stores. X-ray film, you got it on eBay, so you can buy it on eBay. Usually they have stock. The Fuji Green is the one I've used. I think it's HRT or HTR. That's the one I've got. Finlana says, I didn't know about X-ray film. I'll have to check it out too. I mean, it's extremely cheap. It's like paper negatives, kind of cheap. Maybe cheaper. Yeah, cheaper than that for sure. And the good thing is you can kind of play around a lot with it. And you can buy it in big sizes. That's what people that shoot 11x14, 14x17 is the biggest they make, I think, without having to buy some weird batch. And you can do very good contact prints, carbon transfer, stuff like that. It works really well. Jonas says, someone here used the Canon 35mm f2 Leica thread mount. Looked like it shares its optical formula with the pre-aspherical Summicrons 235 or 234. I haven't used the Canon 35 LTM, but I'm sure you will probably get good results out of it. I'm shooting now with a Summicron 1 here. Oh, sorry guys. I'm shooting with this Summicron V1, the 8-element one. And I haven't really scanned or printed any of it, but so far the feel of the lens is amazing. And a lot of people say it's a great lens, so I'm really excited to see what comes out of this. I'm using the Zeiss icon because I keep on forgetting my light meter at the studio, and this has aperture priority, and I just shoot for fast shots with my kids when we go out to the park, skateboarding, whatever. I take this, and a shoelace for extra strap because I never find a proper strap. Nick says you can Google it. It comes from different places. Shop until you find the best deal. Yeah, there's a few. I would have to look it up, but X-ray film. I think there's a CRS or X-ray film. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I find the one that I've been recommended a few times. Yeah, ZZ Medical. This is the one I've been recommended a few times. Control C. Let me see. There you go. JKL, what do you think about the Pentagon 6? JKL, the Pentagon 6 was a camera I owned for a short amount of time, and the lenses are amazing. The 180 f2.8 was stunning. I really liked it, and I sold it more because I was scared it would break than anything else. I'm gonna see if I can share. I think this is one roll I scanned out of it, and it was all one day. So I'll share it with you guys. Share before Flickr dies. This is what I shot with a Pentagon 6 in one day with some friends. It was a fun camera, and I sold it because I kept on hearing that the advanced would break, and I got rid of it. But it was a great camera for what I used. Never had spacing issues, never had shutter issues, never had any kind of issue with mine. House says $32 for 100 sheets of Fuji X-ray film. Yeah, so that's 4 times 4. So you get $32 for 400 sheets of film, 4x5. House says, whoop. Fuji got the blue and green film. Maybe I'll try both. Yeah, the green is the one I've used, but try both. I mean, it's pretty inexpensive. N9 says, I have a spreadsheet for X-ray film, types, developers, times, ISO ratings, and other info. Can't post link. N9X, you can send it to me. Let's see. I can add you as moderator. Maybe you could share that. But if not, you can text me the info and I'll post it on the description later. You can email it to, let me see the emails here. I think the email is somewhere around there. If not, it's Nico's Photography Show at Gmail. Just like the YouTube channel, just like the website, just like that. N9X. Yeah, we want to see it. Andrea says, I only need to do the hybrid system. I shoot and develop in analog and I digitalize the film. And now I'm lost with your answer, Andrea. Oh, you do the you digitalize. Well, if you're not gonna develop, I mean, enlarge it. Still, developing that color film as black and white will give you a very big amount of contrast, like Leighton was saying. Not because I know, and maybe that's not what you're looking for, but I'm sure you could look for C41 developed in black and white and see what it would look like. It's not bad. It looks like it lacks a bit of contrast, at least for what I saw. I'm just going to share this quick Google I did about it, Andrea. Yeah, like Leighton said, go for Fomapan 100. I shoot Fomapan in 8x10 and I shoot Fomapan in 4x5 so far, no problems. I've only shot 2 rolls of Fomapan in 120 for an experiment and none for 35, so I can't say much about that. But people shoot it. It's very inexpensive. Here in Spain or Europe, Fomapan film is pretty cheap. So I suggest looking into it because it really helps shooting. Yeah, I mean, it's not as cheap as X-ray, but I think a box of 50 sheets of 4x5 is like 33 euros. So pretty inexpensive. Photo Impex. So far, I think the cheapest I've found has been Photo Impex for Fomapan film. Sheet film, sheet film, sheet film, sheet film. Film type, film format, manufacturers. Let's see. It's thinking. Yeah, 10x12. 31 euros for 50 sheets. That's pretty inexpensive. It's a little less than €1 a shot. Jonas says, Fomapan 400 and 4x5 is also nice. You can push it to 1600 at least as large format. Use Ronald stand to get more out of the shadows. I've actually shot all the Fomapan 400 I shot in large format. I shot at 1600 for my, I'll say Travel Wide series. And I think I have 1 shot uploaded, but I would have to look at it. But yeah, it works pretty good. I mean, I have only done contact prints. I haven't enlarged anything, but I probably will enlarge and send a few prints every now and then to people to see what they think. But I think it looks pretty good. It looks very decent for 400 film push to 1600. JKL, what's the difference between the Pentacon 6 and the P67 except the negative size? Well, JKL, one's made by Pentax, one by Pentacon. They both kind of have some faults. The Pentax has the advanced problem that happens, but the Pentacon has spacing issues. The lenses are very different. Pentax has, to me, the most creamy kind of bokeh that it actually looks amazing. Pentagon looks good and has Zeiss lenses, which are really good. Honestly, I would say there's not that many big differences, but they're very different cameras at the same time. So if you're thinking about something like that, I would get the Pentax because I think it's a bit more reliable, but the price is a bit more on the high side. So Pentacon is a cheap way to get in. I recommend a Pentacon better than any Kiev Hasselblad kind of Hasselblad-ish cameras. Those have that whole issue that if you don't advance the film or cock the shutter before you change the speed, you can just basically break the whole camera, which I never understood. But yeah, Fomapan 435 example. Leighton's shared with a space in the middle so he could share it. Leighton knows all the tricks for YouTube live streaming. Plus, Leighton, I think they're going to remove the Google shortcut IP addresses. There you go. Leighton has a Fomapan at 400 Ronald 150. It looks good, and this is Flickr, which doesn't always look good. Looks good. There's details in the shadows and details in the highlights. Andrea says, I have at the moment Ilfosol 3, Ilfostop, Rapid Fixer, Ilfotech. Yeah, just develop with that. You'll be fine with that. Layton says, remove the space from the URL. Yeah, I got that one. I can post it again without the space so people can do that easier. There you go. That's Layton's picture. Nick says, I just did some 4x5 contact prints last night for the first time with an enlarger I was given. Super happy with it. A lot of fun. Yeah, I think 4x5 is a great size to contact print. I think even 6x9 is a great size to contact print. I think a 4x5 or you know, that size really works as a postcard, as an image you can frame. You don't have to have a huge negative to get or an enlarger to do it. I love the fact that you can use a light bulb or, you know, any kind of cheap enlarger with contrast filters and do contact prints. And 4x5 is affordable enough to shoot pretty much with any tripod, cheap lenses. Film holders are super cheap and they're all over the place. And cameras are getting cheaper by the day. So yeah, 4x5 contact prints is, to me, a lot of fun. I actually trying to do some 4x5 contact prints, postcards that I want to do like a little giveaway because the channel is going to reach 4,500, which is 4x5 subscribers. And I thought I could give that as a thank you to everyone. So I want to see if I can make a small batch and do that. But at first, I want to do the Kickstarter. Layton says it's trying to block me, but I can get around it. Analog Adventures Spain says Pentax 6x7 800 euros, Pentacon 6 200. Still, P6 is annoying and not reliable enough for important stuff. I mean, mine was reliable. I wouldn't say I would use it enough to say I had issues with it. And the Pentax has gone up in price, but you can still find good deals. I mean, I bought a Pentax 6x7 II for 100 bucks. I bought a Pentax 6x7 MLU with a mirror lockup for 160 bucks, no lens in both of them. And lenses, you can get the 75 4x5, 4.5 for like 50 to 60 bucks. It's so cheap. You can get the 150 2.8 for like 100 euros or less. You can get the 90 for cheap. The only one that people are paying premium is for the 105 because it's a 2.4 f-stop and everyone goes crazy about that. But all the lenses in the lineup are pretty good and you can find deals. Just you got to look for it. So you can get like a Pentax kit for like 300 euros if you have your time and patience. But yeah. They are also break, but they're more reliable than the Pentacon. Email sent. Let me see if I can check the email before we finish the live stream. Sorry, guys. The larger the print, the easier you can see the problems, and also the more dust you can get, and all kinds of troubles. Jonah says the Exacta 66 should be more reliable. PJ de Jesus, hey, nice to see you here. Welcome to, you got 5 more minutes of, let me see, live stream. Sorry, I was opening this. And this is on my Google Drive. There's also a 503-page thread. Let me see if I can share this from his Google Docs. Okay. So here is the Google Docs. Excel with all the info about X-ray film. Analog Adventure shot 4x5 inside and a closed building with only window lights. Hard to focus and too heavy with monorail up and down stairs and got derailed in some of the shots. That sucks. I'm sorry, Spain. I mean, 4x5 is never going to be an easy format. As I said at the beginning, there's a lot to the learning in large format and it's going to take its time. I'm sorry that you got those problems. I've got the rails on my shots on 8x10. I've had my rails in my shots in 4x5. This weekend, I shot my first architectural video for the Patreon. And I forgot to stop down my lens on half the shots, so they're all burned. So yeah, 4x5 mistakes happen all the time. they minimize sometimes, and then they come back later. Like I was this weekend. I mean, yeah, I was pretty upset, and it's been raining for a while, so I can't shoot again. Mike says, oh wait, How says, Leighton, that's why Michael cannot only print smaller size. Yeah, Michael kind of does like 8x10 contact prints, basically. Well, 8x10-ish size, so it should work for everyone else. Mike says, are you going to do an RA4 printing video? Mike, yes, I am. I can't say when, because the RA4 expert is my partner. I know how to do it, but he's mastered it. And when he goes, I'm not at the studio, and when I go, he's not at the studio. So we have to merge into the same day, and then we have to go through the basics, because he does a lot of things because he knows. But to explain it in a video, it's going to take a little time. So I will do it, just not yet. Jonas, bye. Have a nice week. You too. Thomas, hi Nico. What is the best portrait lens for Pentax 6x7, 75 or 105? What's your opinion? I mean, what's the best is hard. The 105 gets so much praise, but I find it not to be, in my opinion, the best. The best I used on the Pentax was the 75 2.8. It's a hard lens to find. It's expensive when you find it. I got a great deal on one, sold it, regret it. But the 75 was amazing. It is more of a slightly wide lens, so it's more like a kind of like a 35 to 28 millimeter lens on 35. But I really liked it. The 105 is good. The 200 is amazing. The old ones are so cheap. I got mine for like 40 euros, and it's beat up, but it's a stunning performer. So it depends a lot on what you're using, but don't go crazy for the 105. Get the cheaper ones, get the 200, get a 75 4.5, and shoot and decide. And the 105 you can always find, but they go for almost like, for a price of a 105, you can buy the 75, you can buy the 150, you can buy the 200. So you tell me, 3 lenses or 1 lens? I'm more of the 3 lens guy. JKL says, I'm going to do the last questions, guys. Is a modular system like Mamiya 645 better than cameras like the Pentacon 6? JKL, I would say yes. The Mamiya 645s are reliable cameras, cheap enough to start. Ton of lenses out there, shift lenses, everything. So I suggest it's a great system. Pentacon 6, I'm telling you, I was always scared of problems that never happened, but I was always scared, so I sold it. Leighton says 99.9 of all my prints are 8x10. I think 98% of all my prints are 8x10. So yeah, I buy those 250 boxes of 8x10 paper, which they don't sell in Europe. So I have to backpack them from the States here, and you should see custom TSA officers when they see that block of paper in my backpack. Analog Adventure, is handheld 4x5 a realistic option for an important project? FOMA 400 push to 1600 will give fast enough speeds. Rangefinder correct enough for low f-stops. Well, I did all my travel wide at FOMAPAN 400 at 1600. It was all handheld. It was no rangefinder. No, I was just guesstimating the distance. So what I would do is use a wide lens, because a wide lens will give you that extra depth of field. I would stop down the lens to f16 minimum. So f16, f22, f32. And I would shoot at 1/60th of a second, 1/100th of a second, stuff like that. And it worked fine. For an important project and composition-wise, I wouldn't do it maybe. I was more of a fun project to shoot everywhere. But it can work. But I wouldn't say for, depending on the important project and how much is at risk. Negitanet, last question. I've looked at seeing P6x7 Pentax sets for going for 1600 euros on the major Dutch online Craigslist. Yeah, don't get a 1600 or 1016. 1,600 euros. I'm starting to get tired. On the major Dutch online. A Pentax set, I suggest is a good price for 500, 600 euros. It's not bad. You can find them every once in like a week or once every 2 weeks. Cheaper than that, you're gonna have to look a little with a bit more time and patience. But I wouldn't pay 1,000 euros for a Pentax 6x7. The 6x7 II, a lot of people are paying a lot of money for them. The two I've had have failed on me. They've been fixed and failed again. So I don't have all my confidence on the Pentax 6x7 II, sadly. It's an amazing camera, very modern, love the light meter, love the grip, love the use. I don't love that they break all the time on me. So yeah, with that, guys, I'm gonna move on to start finishing this live stream, starting to be delirious. So yeah, thanks for joining as always. Remember that next week I'll be back live. If you have any information, questions, whatever, you can find me on Instagram. You got all the links on the description. But yeah, thanks guys for joining again, and good night. See you next week.